Work hard and you'll make it. It's the most powerful story we've ever been told. From school desks to Hollywood movies, we're raised on the idea that success is just one all-nighter, one promotion, one clever business idea away. That if you grind hard enough, you'll rise. It's not just the American dream, it's a global gospel. But what if that dream isn't real anymore? What if it never was? In cart life, you step into the shoes of everyday people just trying to survive, running a coffee cart, selling newspapers, navigating bus routes, bad weather, broken machines, and broken hearts. It's not glamorous. There are no trophies, just long days, tired feet, and the silent fear that no matter how hard you try, it still won't be enough. That fear? It's not fiction. Today, millions of people work full-time jobs and still can't pay rent. They skip meals so their kids can eat. They take 2 buses to clock in for minimum wage. And when they finally get home, there's no rest, only bills, worry, and another shift tomorrow. So why do we still believe that hard work equals success? Because the myth is powerful. It keeps us striving, competing, hoping. It turns poverty into a personal failure instead of a broken system. And worst of all, it convinces the privileged that they've earned everything, while those left behind simply didn't try hard enough. But here's the truth. Hard work isn't a guaranteed path to success anymore. In fact, for many, it's just the price of staying poor. And as we dive deeper into this story, we'll uncover the hidden realities of the working poor and how this myth keeps the whole system in place. Because behind every struggling worker, there's a rigged game no one wants to admit exists. You wake up before sunrise. You skip breakfast to save a few bucks. You hustle to catch the bus. You work 8, maybe 10 hours, standing, serving, grinding. Then you go home exhausted, only to realize the rent's due, the fridge is empty, and your kid needs school supplies. Again, this isn't a movie. This is real life for millions of people. This is what it means to be the working poor. It's a term that sounds like a contradiction. How can you work and still be poor? Isn't work supposed to be the answer? That's the lie we were sold. In cart life, no matter how fast you serve coffee, how carefully you count change, or how early you open your kiosk, it never quite adds up. You chase pennies, you miss appointments, you disappoint people you love, and slowly the game starts to feel like real life, like a grind with no end. That's because in real life, the margins are razor thin. A flat tire can mean losing your job. A sick day can cost you rent. And childcare, that's a luxury, not a given. In this world, poverty isn't about laziness, it's about math. The cost of living keeps rising, but wages stay stuck. And even when people juggle multiple jobs, it's still not enough to build a future, or sometimes even make it to next week. And here's the worst part. The system punishes you for being poor. Late on rent, you get fees. No credit, you pay higher interest. Can't afford insurance, one emergency can bankrupt you. It's a loop. And just like in cart life, the more you struggle, the harder the game pushes back. So, what happens when you do everything right and still fall behind? What does it feel like to live in a world where no matter how much you give, it's never enough? That's where we're going next, into the mental and emotional cost of surviving a system built on burnout. Because when life becomes a to-do list you can never finish, it doesn't just drain your wallet, it breaks your spirit. The burnout economy and the silent breakdown behind the grind. You can only run on empty for so long. At first, it's just tiredness. You miss a call, forget a task, but over time, something deeper starts to crack. The stress doesn't go away when you clock out. It follows you home. It sits with you at dinner. It lies next to you at night. This is the emotional tax of being poor, and it's rarely talked about. In cart life, your character isn't just fighting to make money. They're fighting exhaustion, fear, and invisible walls closing in. You want to be there for your child, but you're too tired. You want to grow your business, but you can't risk one wrong decision. You want to dream, but survival doesn't leave room for dreams. This isn't gameplay. It's what millions of people feel every single day. When life becomes a constant calculation, can I afford this? Can I make it there in time? What happens if I say no? Your mind never rests. Your nervous system stays in survival mode. That's why poor communities suffer more from anxiety, depression, and health issues, not because they're weak, but because they've been carrying more than most people can see. The burnout economy doesn't just exploit labor, it drains identity. You stop seeing yourself as a parent, a friend, an artist, a human being. You become a worker, a cog, a clock puncher, and slowly the light inside begins to dim. And yet society keeps saying, just work harder, be more disciplined. Everyone has the same 24 hours, but no, they don't. They don't have the same starting line. They don't have the same safety net, and they definitely don't carry the same weight. So the next time someone tells you poverty is a mindset, ask them how it feels to live in a constant state of alert, to be one flat tire away from losing everything, one mistake away from starting over. Because that's not just poverty, that's psychological warfare disguised as normal life. But the most dangerous part? When you start believing it's your fault. How we break the cycle and why rewriting the narrative is our first step toward real change. They told us if we worked hard, we'd win. They didn't tell us the rules were different for everyone. The truth is, the game is rigged, and most of us have been playing with broken pieces. For decades, we've blamed individuals for struggling inside systems designed to keep them struggling. But it doesn't have to be this way. Because once you see the system, you can start to change it. In cart life, there is no easy mode. The characters don't level up with cash or confidence. They move through life burdened by bureaucracy, by time, by quiet desperation. But the power of the game isn't just in how it simulates survival, it's in how it makes you feel it. That's where empathy is born. That's where awareness begins. And awareness, that's where change starts. We need to stop telling people to just work harder and start asking why hard work no longer guarantees a life of stability or dignity. We need to stop glorifying hustle and start valuing rest, access, and equity. We need to stop pretending everyone has the same shot when the truth is some are born on third base and others haven't even made it into the stadium. Rewriting the narrative means changing how we talk about poverty. It means understanding that success isn't always a choice and failure isn't always a flaw. It means realizing that policy is personal, that wages, rent, healthcare, and childcare aren't just political topics. They're the scaffolding of real people's lives. It means lifting up voices that have been ignored and seeing value in every human being, not just the ones with money or status. Because dignity shouldn't be earned, it should be guaranteed. So here's the real dream, not the one sold in textbooks or campaign ads, but the one where everyone gets a fair shot, where surviving isn't the finish line, it's just the beginning. Now that you've seen the system from the inside, what will you do on the outside?